Welcome to Burning Bright, a weekly podcast presenting poetry and prose from Passenger. Passenger just published its 2022 Poetry Contest issue. In an upcoming Burning Bright episode, we'll feature work by the 2022 Passenger poet David Bergman. This episode, though, features work from that issue by three other poets. Although the poems in the issue address all kinds of subjects, these three focus in some way on love. Joyce Schmid said her poem was inspired by this excerpt from T.S. Eliot's poem Four Quartets. You say I am repeating something I have said before? I shall say it again. Shall I say it again? Here's Joyce Schmid's poem about the beauty of love in her life. Beauty, beauty. If I repeat myself, it's called anaphora. If I repeat myself, it's called a theme. If I repeat myself, it's called I didn't get it right the first time, so I try again. I've never had that much to say, not like my friend the engineer who says, the history of textiles is the history of man. John Marshall had 1 year of education. I am going to Japan. That's why I've spent my life in listening. I'm filled with other people's words, the beauty of them insurmountable. I have a story too, and I repeat it when I can. It's beautiful just after rain, when air is clean and trees are fed, and every blade of grass is unashamed to wear its tears. The beauty part, as I have said before, and I will say again, is lying with my head upon your chest, my favorite place, a joy no afterlife could even try to understand. Beauty, Beauty by Joyce Schmid, from Passenger's 2022 Poetry Contest issue. In Native American culture, cranes symbolize true love. In her poem, The Cranes, Julie Pratt remembers her parents' resilience and tenderness towards each other during the many years her mother lived with MS. Just past dawn, they glided through the fog that rested like pillows on the still lake. My father watched as the pair of cranes descended toward the grass he cut the day before, dew-covered and shimmering. When it seemed almost too late, they pulled up in tandem just enough to lower their legs, the delicate spindles with claws touching, bouncing, then settling. But wait, only 3 claws, for one was missing half a leg. The birds foraged in the grass as the man sat with his coffee, a kind of meditation, forecasting a day that would start by gently waking his wife, raising the back of her hospital bed, and placing pills and orange juice on her tray. For the next 2 years, the two couples shared this shore, living the daily rhythm of an unhurried life. Many an evening, the man pushed his wife's wheelchair onto the dock as the sun sank crimson over the lake. In the 3rd year, my father watched the sunsets alone. He sought comfort in his visits from the cranes, who, like him, mated for life. Then one morning, a single bird appeared. He wept when the crane landed, wobbled, then steadied himself on one leg. Julie Pratt's poem, The Cranes. James McGrath's poem in the book I Leave Behind also uses an image of cranes. In some cultures, cranes represent immortality, in others, harbingers of death. In the book I leave behind, there will be blank pages. There will be the silver palms of snails crossing the abandoned path in the dripping forest. In the book I leave behind, there will be the rehearsal schedule for the wake of the ancestor I became. There will be pages of active verbs, of climbing mountains that have shadows, of lupine and wild strawberries. There will be dancers of light, cross-hatching nouns of lost and found. There will be fingerprints and footprints. No one can tell the fingerprint of the father from the hoofprint of the deer. In the book I leave behind, there will be bookmarks of woven threads from kitchen towels, grease stains of roasted chicken, and the heat of baked potatoes. There will be pages of portraits, pages of smiles, laughter, tears, and smirks, the daily script of growing old and not forgetting. There will be an ink-filled pen in a pocket at the back of the book I leave behind. This is to sign your name with love, as 1,000 cranes fly away with my shadow. In the book I leave behind, James McGrath's poem, also from Passager's 2022 Poetry Contest issue. James McGrath, by the way, was the 2015 Passenger poet. To buy the 2022 Poetry Contest issue, subscribe to or learn more about Passenger and its commitment to writers over 50, go to PassengerBooks.com. You can download Burning Bright from Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, and various other podcast apps. Thanks to Passenger intern Dina Sokol for researching and writing this episode. For Kendra, Mary, Christine, Roseanne, and the rest of the Passenger staff, I'm John Shore.